Hi, Watch fam. I'm David Boucher, the Real Time Show's resident provocateur, and we are back with another episode of the Real Time Show. And this is another episode in our very special series leading up to Chronopolis 2026. And today I'm joined by Amir Meghani from Breda Watches. So thank you very much, Amir, for spending your time with us here on the show.
Hey, how's it going?
I am very, very well, thank you. And I want to start with, I think, what is going to be a basic question. So my colleague, Alan Ben Joseph, is Dutch, and he actually said that Breda is the name of a Dutch city. And I don't think that's where you got your name from, but maybe you did. So where does the name Breda come from?
Okay, so when I launched Breda, I had, I'm no formal like design or branding experience or anything. My family's been in the watch business for over 60 years. And so, yeah, my grandfather and my dad. And, at no point did we as a family have a watch brand. And so I started working for my dad out of college and behind a counter. I was like, you know what, I want to start my own brand and just start selling the watches online. And that's kind of how it started. And I've been playing soccer my whole life. And that's like a passion. It's like in my blood, it's within me. And I started looking up small soccer clubs in Europe. And I came across this one, Breda, out of Netherlands. And I was like, oh my God, I love the name. It's very simple. It's gender neutral. It has never been trademarked for any sort of jewelry or watches or anything in America. And I literally just, I decided to name my brand that. I built my first logo in Microsoft Word since, like I said, I had no formal design experience. And I mean, it's kind of carried the name forever since then, since 2009. And now I'm more, as the brand is growing, there's more questions around this. And funny enough, last year, or no, in 2020, five actually, or 24, excuse me, we entered into a partnership with a first ever women's pro soccer team that's out of Dallas Trinity FC. I've been playing soccer my whole life. My friend's family started the team, and so we're the official time partner. We have a 5-year partnership with them, and and we still are not connecting those dots publicly, but behind the scenes, our team, everyone knows there's some soccer blood within the brand, and so yeah, that's kind of how it got its name.
Interesting. So Alan, if you're listening to this episode, you were actually half right. So good for you.
He was half right, yes.
And Amir, I'll say, you've obviously avoided the lawyers for 17 years now. Hopefully no one sends you a letter after this episode. Yeah, no, that's a really interesting story. I will say, having looked at the watches before the episode and actually leading up to it, because your name does pop up here and there isn't a ton of actual soccer influence, and they're not so much sporting watches, at least as I interpret it. So what was the design and brand philosophy when you started?
Really in the beginning, it was just around fashion. I think, like I said, my family has been in the watch business for a long time. My dad was a trader. We were born in Pakistan, and my dad was a distributor for Casio in Pakistan. My grandfather used to sell watch bands, fix watches, sell Japanese-made watches in Dubai from 68 to 1990. And so my family's always been in and around the watch industry, and mainly in that kind of segment around really well priced, good fashion watches. And then my dad here in Dallas also was kind of doing the same thing. And so, but then he kind of started moving into more trading other brands, fashion brands, from Movado to Fossil, Guess. I kind of saw all of that. And when I was just there behind the counter, that's kind of all I saw. And then I was like, okay, I kind of want to do something similar to this, and let's just kind of see. So like I said, I did not have, in the very start, the first line was not from a specific design point of view. It was more about a more entrepreneurial spirit of wanting to create something that would stand the test of time and then last beyond just my family moving from country to country, city to city, just kind of having the watches be with us as kind of a means to move around. And so I kind of started my entrepreneur journey around that idea. And then as time went on, I got to understand what it means to own a brand, start a brand, and what point of view means, and what, community, and really started building a nice team around me and good people that we could start talking more about like, where do we want to see this go? And I think that's when we started kind of delving into more of like our own design point of view, besides just kind of just being in and around the watch industry. It was more around trend driven back when I started in 2009. But I would say the company really started moving in the direction where we're at today, where you can see our line over the last 7 to 8 years. And really, I would say between the years of 2014 and 18 is where we started kind of finding our groove of like what we want to do. And we had our number one product line that has helped bring the brand to where it is today. That launched in 2019, the Jane, that has been around since, yeah, like I said, 2019. We launched in the spring, and it has really like transformed the brand. Really kind of had us be a leader in that kind of like vintage timeless space that was now like globally taking over the watch industry in all different pockets of it. As you can see, some of like, the top brands that's kind of like the thing that's going on, and then also in the general landscape of timepieces, from case sizes being reduced to things looking like jewelry, not just watches. We kind of play in that space, and we've been doing that for quite some time. And we've got now reaped kind of the benefits of that, like, I guess, global trend. But at the same time, that's not something we're trying to get away from. We definitely stand for classicness, timelessness, and yeah, like I would say like soft design, but very intentional at the same time.
Yeah, it's interesting as you were mentioning some of the early brands that I guess, influenced you, even maybe indirectly.
Yeah,
Fossil, if I'm not mistaken, actually is
is based in Dallas.
in
Yeah.
Dallas, which
Hmm.
which we could obviously. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but I think where I want to tie this back to what you said later on in your answer was that, so there's a term in circles which you've probably heard called a fashion watch, and among
Yeah.
enthusiasts, it's not well seen. I am personally, I don't see it as, there's a whole bunch of reasons why I just don't think it's negative in the way people think it is.
Yeah.
And so where I want to tie it back to what you had just said was, where do you see yourself playing? Are you more of an enthusiast brand, or are you more of a mass market brand? And I'm not implying anything with that question. I just want to kind of see how you see yourself in the watch space, and maybe also, since I did bring it up, your thoughts on the term fashion brand, since you seem to be familiar with that as well.
No, definitely. And I opened my answer with the idea that the brand started as a fashion brand, right? And I think because I'd explained around the trends and how I kind of just took what was out there and started doing my own thing. Um, I would not consider ourselves like a brand for enthusiasts, but like we don't literally use these terms inside our walls. Like we don't say enthusiasts, we don't even like talk in gendered languages around our watches. We dropped gendered language from the brand in 2020. And so again, like we're living in a space where I just think that there's we're really like looking to, and again, I'm going to answer your question, but I really want to talk about us and how we see ourselves. We're living in a space where I just think that Breda it's special because like I don't necessarily think it's like defined in any of those like worlds. Like this is the first time I'm having like a journalist interview on a podcast about watches, and I've been doing this for 17 years. And it's not like I'm putting myself out there, but like I want to like, do this and do that. Like we're literally beating like to our own drum. Like we love doing things differently, whether it's through our creative, through how, we introduced time rings in 2023. We did chokers. There's something that I'm going to show you that we're releasing in Switzerland for, our first time ever putting our brand on the global stage. We really like look at time as like the concept as like as something that we want to play with, and whether it's how we speak about it, how we shoot our watches, how we design. And so like we want to be in the timepiece world. And again, I don't want to say that I don't mind being classified as a watch brand. I don't mind people saying, hey, you're a mass market watch brand. You have, distribution, way more than most watch brands do in the States. But we're not afraid of any of those things because we know that we craft beautiful watches. We put a lot of passion into them. We're bringing value not only in the design, but in how our customers can engage with the brand. They don't just need to buy one, they can try different case sizes, different styles. We take value in like launching new things that our price segment does not have for customers. And then also just in the emotional connection of like who our community is and what we stand for. And so like, I don't know if I answer that exactly, but like, I don't care what people classify us as. I don't mind checking every single box.
Oh, I think that's totally fair. I'm
Yeah.
of the point of view that whatever makes people happy. And as long as your watch or any particular brand's watches are moving, then who really cares what anyone says? So I totally
And that
agree. Totally agree.
customers are happy with them, and they're coming back and they're saying great things about us. Obviously, word of mouth is like I would say our number one way people are finding out about Breda. We're still small, independent watch company. We're not part of some bigger group. We don't have you know, any leg ups in anything. Honestly, we're just kind of slowly climbing our way through the industry and finding our way. And I think we found our way in so many different corners of fashion and art and culture, and like now literally watches like we're the only American brand invited into the group with Chronopolis. I mean, we're very proud to be there. And it's not even something that we were ever thinking that we would be in Geneva anytime soon, showing our watches during Watches and Wonders and be in this world. But I mean, we were kind of invited in, and we weren't going to say no to an opportunity like that. And so, and funny enough, I feel like we have a beautiful watch to show out there that's going to be very exciting for us and for the people that are going to be there.
So let's talk a little bit about that because
Yeah.
I live relatively close to Geneva. Never actually went there until last year for the real time show. And look, I'll just say up front, it is a beautiful city, but it is extremely expensive. It's an investment just to
Yeah,
go,
just to
like
go.
have fun there, right? So
Yes.
you sort of said, okay, we got this invitation, but for a brand that at the stage where you're at in terms of growth, in terms of future plans, can you just walk me and the listeners through what the calculus is in your head that
Decision
says,
making.
yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. So, okay. So the founders of Chronopolis, we've become friends online over the last like year and a half, Maxime and Lorenzo. And so, um, we became friends over like just kind of like shared interests around like they were kind of liking what I had going on and what we had going on at the company, which turned into them inviting me to New York last year for a panel conversation around the luxury watch industry and how it's kind of shaping, like I would say, my generation of consumers. Um, and we had a great meeting, and they kind of started telling me about this project and like, would love for you to come. And I literally looked at them and I'm like, I want to be where you are. Like you're inviting me somewhere. I want to be a part of the birth of this, support you guys on this journey. And I trust that you wouldn't put me in a situation or bring me along to something that would not be fruitful for my company and for the brand. And so like that was like my first layer of decision making, right? I like the people involved and there's a mutual respect for what we both do, right? Then it was talking to the team, right? Okay, there's resources, there's time, there's planning, there's launching a product around that. There's a lot that went into it there. And there was obviously tons of questions internally going back and forth of like, okay, is this where we want to put our time and money? And in the spring of 2026, like it's not where our customer base is currently. And we weighed out all of those things. And then we were like, okay, here's another thing to think about is this is where the watch world is, and we want to pay respect to also the industry, right? Like there's a sense of being a renegade, and then there's a sense of like kind of doing your own thing while being a part of the grander story, right? And Timepieces is all we do. We don't do jewelry. We don't do sunglasses. There's no questions that this is going to be a watch company. And so why not? And then when we started talking like that, we're like, okay, now let's kind of spin this in the way that we want to tell the story about going to Geneva and what Breda looks like going on the road all the way across the pond, and experiencing this moment for the brand. And so that's kind of how we're taking it. We're taking it very seriously, but having fun with it at the same time, because we're not going to change who we are just because we're coming all the way over there. And then now, like, on kind of the business and marketing and like that side of it, we're very open to meeting businesses out there that want distribution, that want to carry Breda, see that as something that could work for them, whether it's a larger assortment, it's just our new piece. And so we're obviously very excited. Our sales directors, you know, over the moon at, like, there's so many retailers that are going to be there. They're going to walk through, and it's a great opportunity. And then on the marketing side, it is a part of our product launch for this new watch that I'm going to talk to you about. It's not the only thing that's happening with our product launch, but it is a big moment for us to share with our community. And I think they're going to champion and support the fact that, wow, like, I've been a Breda customer. I've been following Breda for 5 years and 10 years, and now look at where they're going. So it's also a proud moment for everybody involved with the brand in the past, that are part of the community now, and where we're kind of going. And so, yeah, and I think, like, if all the journalists are there, like, why not have them kind of put us next to everyone else and tell us what you think? I want to hear. I don't care if it's criticism. I don't care if it's like falling in love with what we're doing, or they're like looking at our watches like, yeah, for that price point, like, I would do this. Okay, I'm going to listen. I'm not going to not. So why not be in the room when all this conversation is happening? So I think, like, all those things. Now, if you were in my shoes, what do you think? As long as you have the budget to do it.
Right. No, and I think, I'm curious. I've hoped to meet you at the show in person, and we can
Yeah.
compare notes about the price shock that you got when you bought your first Subway sandwich or whatever it is over there, because it
Well, we've done
hurts.
our research. Yeah, we're
Okay.
staying on the French side, and commuting in. So there's definitely, we got the sticker shock immediately
Okay.
when we were doing the research. We put a whole budget sheet together and the line items for flights and this and that. But we're coming with the whole group. It's 4 of us coming from the company.
Wow.
Me, I'm the founder. Um, our design director's coming, our sales director's coming, and head of creative. And all these people have been with the company. Like, our design director's been with us for over 10 years, creative director over close to 9. And so this is also a moment for us to celebrate and, like, be like, wow, like, it's not like, oh, you've made it, but it's like, wow, like, we're here now, type
Yeah.
of feeling for the company. And everyone's excited for us internally.
I love that way of approaching it. That's a really fun way of looking at it beyond a commercial event. But since it is that, and since you've sort of alluded to it, to the extent that you can, I don't want to take all your thunder for the show away,
Yeah.
but tell us about this new release that you're so
Okay.
excited about.
So whatever we're talking about, it's coming in this is being discussed, or this will be released around that time.
So let me hang on. This
Yeah.
is for my Rob, for the editor Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be around the show, but just
Okay. Cool.
basically, yeah,
After April 9th.
yeah, that's right.
Okay. April 9th is when we're releasing it. So, okay, I actually have the sample here so I can show you, but I'll prime you up for the style. So we launched a watch in 2020, summer of 2020, called the Pulse. The Pulse was a line that we kind of, tongue in cheek, internally were like, okay, there's all this smartwatch stuff happening in the industry. Like, we want to do something that nods internally in our conversation around the resistance to that idea, um, while, doing our own thing and making a really cool, beautiful, fun watch to come out with. I'm going to show you the first edition of that watch. So it's this one. It's the Pulse. I'm sure you've seen it on our website. We covered the entire thing, and it's just got the hour and minute disc. And actually, the first edition had hours, minutes, and seconds, but we heard a lot of complaints that you can barely see it. So we went from 3 windows to 2 windows. This watch, oh my God, this watch changed our brand during that time because we were so focused on this like kind of jewelry style and more around the Jane case, the oval watch. Um, and it kind of brought in a whole new audience. We had the watch enthusiasts, I guess you would say. There's chatter on Reddit and stuff around this watch in particular. No other watches from our brand, but the Pulse watch. It's like, have you tried it? Have you done this? Whatever. So this was fun for us. This was a fun experiment. It was like an 18-month design process. We launched it. It was beautiful. Okay. So this is 2020. Then we came in 2022 and designed the second generation version, which is the Pulse Tandem. Okay. This one did even better than the original Pulse. And this one, we added the half moon on the bottom because people were saying you can't see the time. So like, okay, get a little preview of what it's going to be before it gets there. So you're just kind of, and at the same time, like we are in that world of like, are we using our watches for time? Yes. Is it a utility and a tool? Absolutely. And we're not going to, any of us in the industry, ever say no, it's not, right? We also have to understand what's going on around us, right? We are in the 21st century, you know? And so with that, we still made it fun. And again, it is a beautiful design, you know, it's a cool looking watch. And so this is September 2022. Okay. It's been doing phenomenal. And then we're like, okay, what's the next version of the Pulse? And been sitting on this one that I'm about to show you for some time, and we're finally like, okay, this is the right time to do it. And this one is called Pulse Locket. Okay. So it's in the same shape, in the same bracelet design. This is the gold version. It comes in steel and gold plating. Um, but it's a locket watch. So you
Wow.
open it
Okay.
and it's got
Okay.
the time with small sub-second,
Okay.
and we've got the you know, brush finish dial. We've got the on the rim of the on the inside of the bezel there too. And it's meant to be a really clean cut design because we with how like I guess sharp the edges are of the face and everything, we wanted to keep it minimal as possible. Um, so you know, it's the third version of the Pulse, and like it clicks really nice. It's very simple to open and see the time. And you know, if you don't want to see the time, this still looks beautiful on your wrist. Like when it's worn on the wrist, it looks amazing. The creative is phenomenal. Okay. So this is a Pulse locket that we're introducing. Now, I know there's like all these brands excuse me, not all these brands. I know last year it was a huge release around the redo from Cartier. They did the
The
oh my God,
guichet.
why am I?
I think it's the
Yes,
guichet. Yep.
right. Oh my God, how many jump hour watches have come out and all the covered faces, and I really wanted to show you the progression. And it wasn't had we didn't even look at any of that stuff. We were like, we want to do something fun that's like really internally about us wanting to kind of put a hand up to the whole smartwatch idea, right? But also, you know, the Pulse is about it's like when we introduced the campaign in 2020, it's like it's resting on your heartbeat, like it's a pulse, right? And so with this, we're also introducing for the first time ever in the brand engraving and personalization. So and you can engrave the outside. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, the surface is perfect for
Yeah.
that.
And then you can engrave the inside of your locket as well.
Yeah. So
And
listeners,
so
if you go check out the watch, you'll see that it's a very appropriate service on both sides for engraving. So
yeah,
that's
and I
fantastic.
like it's great for the idea. It's something more that you can hold, you know? It's okay, you tell time, but it's something more you hold. And I think back to where you asked the question around, are we a fashion watch brand? Are we a watch enthusiast brand? Like, I think we're just a timepiece company that really believes in like interesting design and to do things differently, bottom line. And it's like, the standard fashion watch would be like, okay, here's the watch, like go engrave the back of the watch and it's cool and it's personalize it and give it as a gift. Like we didn't want to do that. We could have done that 5 years ago, but when we introduced engraving, we want to have more meaning and intentionality around it. And this was the watch to do it with. And so like, it's a locket. You want to engrave the inside of your locket. Well, here we go. And it nods back to the timelessness, the classicness of the brand, are kind of like, there is a little bit of vintage inspired, like blood within the brand as well. Our creative director like loves that whole concept for many, many years. She is that. And so I think it's all kind of in there and it's packed into this watch that just a beautiful watch that you could wear or, give as a gift. And so super excited it releases like a few days before the fair to our greater watch community here stateside and then to the world on April 14th at Chronopolis.
Well, that is fantastic. And I think that is a great place to lead this interview. I would say to anyone listening, or maybe even if you're actually going to be at the show, do check out the Breda website. They have some really interesting novelties, and it looks like watches that are part of the collection. And Amir, I'm assuming, as you said, you and your team will be there. So anyone at Chronopolis,
please come by, see it firsthand, take away stuff. We'll have things there for you guys. And we're also going to be selling watches on the spot as well. Something that Chronopolis has encouraged, that they're very open to that. And so that'll be the first time we've ever done that at a trade fair. So we're actually trying to figure out how to get the watches there, do it the right way. How many do we take? There's so many things that this show has opened a can of worms internally for us. But again, we're hitting it with every stride and very excited to just be in the world and learn from everyone too,
Well, I can say that, Amir, you have successfully checked off the pre-show podcast recording. So I hope that everything else goes just as smoothly for you.
Thank you. It was really nice meeting you, David.
Thanks so much for taking the time to appear on the show. Listeners, as always, you can check out the episode either on your favorite podcast platform, or we have an audio feed on the Real Time Show's dedicated YouTube channel. And as we always do, we want to make sure that you stay safe and keep on ticking, and we will make sure to catch you on the next episode of the Real Time Show. Thanks so much.